WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany, tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Today I have something from Germany. This is from the Nine Springs Distillery, and this is their 6-year-old, and it's American Oak and Muscatel Roxo. Roxo. I have so many different pronunciations. My Portuguese is non-existent. So sorry. So I paid for this bottle here 64 euros. I'm totally wrong about that. I paid for this bottle 64 euros for this. It's a 0.5 liter bottle, which is unfortunately often the case over here in Germany. A 0.7 liter bottle would be more expensive. Now, the total capacity of the distillery is round about 12,000 liters a year of alcohol. 12,000, not 1.2 million, not 120,000, 12,000 liters a year. It's tiny. Now, I've actually been at the distillery. It's very, very interesting. Bernd Ebrecht, he actually in 2009 started this idea of a whiskey making company after the reunification of Germany. He bought a beer producing site, and he had a couple partners. Slowly but surely he bought them out, and he became the only owner of that. And what happens is in Germany is often we have a local beer. And in that area in eastern Germany, around a 50 to 80 kilometer radius, that he is the Neunspringer, Nine Springs. He is the local beer guy. And then he finally had enough money and enough capacity to say, hey, I finally want to do my dream. I'd like to make whiskey. And he has a person doing that for him, Johannes Brebach. And I have been there. I did a blogger and vlogger meetup with like 40 people. We toured the distillery. This September, I will be there again with with super fans and other whiskey enthusiasts. We're going to be there with about 40 people again, and we're going to have a wonderful tour of the distillery. 2 evenings, we're going to do tastings there. And the best thing about it is they have their own castle. I mean, it's a wonderful, wonderful story. I think I shared this in one of my other videos, but Bernd was actually with one of the local representatives in Japan, and this local representative from Germany, they were doing some type of trade agreements and so on, started complaining about, I have this castle, I don't know what to do with it. And Bernd was like, I think I could turn it into a whiskey castle. And then it was like, all right, let's see what's going to happen. They had actually made a new road going up there because the Pope was supposed to actually come, never came. And so it was actually all set up. It had been restored. There's been a lot of European money put into that. And he turned part of the castle. One half is where they do the marriages. Another half is a restaurant. They've actually built a hotel now there. And so they also have a whiskey world. And so we have whiskey tourism in Germany, finally. Yay. And you can actually go down in the dungeon and see then the casks maturing down there. You can do all these different things, and it's a very, very good thing. Now, this bottle here is something that's very similar to this bottle here. Now, this is their standard core range. They basically have one product is the standard core range, and everything else is more or less small batch and or single barrels. They have peated whiskey and they have unpeated whiskey. Now, this is called the triple cask. Why is it called the triple cask? Because they use ex-bourbon, they use virgin oak, and they use ex-Bordeaux casks, triple. Here we have a double cask. We have virgin oak, and we have here our Muscatel Roxo, Portuguese wine casks. So 48%, 46%. This cost me 54. This one here is 48. So, about 6 months ago, I started up a podcast called Bourbon News Deutschland for Germany. So I started with a partner, Kai from the Bourbon Diaries in German, doing a podcast once a month about the new releases in Germany as well as in America, with a spotlight on a certain theme. It could be wild turkey, it could be prohibition, it could be rye whiskey, it could be, we try to go one distillery and then we go to one topic and so on. We're trying to educate the people here in Germany about bourbon. And as soon as I did the one, it's like I have to do two other podcasts. Those things are that my heart just bleeds for these two subjects as well. One of it is Irish whiskey, so Irish Whiskey News Deutschland, and the other one is Made in Germany, der, which is in German, der Whisky Podcast. So we actually own www der Whisky Podcast, the whiskeypodcast.de, which is kind of cool. So this is something that was actually in February's edition here. We don't taste online. We just give the information. It should be as factual as possible without our own personal preferences there. So I bought this, and now I get to try it after we've announced it has been on the market here in Germany. And I really do like German whiskey. I really do like the fact that we in Germany have a very, very blossoming industry of a lot of different people trying a lot of different things. And Nine Springs is one of them. One of the problems is distribution. Even within Germany, they're not very well distributed. Sometimes you actually have to contact the distillery and just buy directly from their online shop. They're not even other online retailers yet. And the second thing is almost none of them have any ambitions whatsoever to go international. They're local. And so it's going to be difficult to find them, maybe on an auction site someplace, but otherwise these are flying very, very much under the radar in the world outside of Germany. So this on the nose, it's fruity. I get a little bit of orange peel. Now, I've never had that wine, that Muscatel Roxo. So I have that here. Let's see if I can pronounce it again. So, Roxo, almost like horseshoe, Roxo, horseshoe. All right, I'm still learning Portuguese. I can barely speak English sometimes. Who knows? This is fruity. The interesting thing about this horseshoe muscatel grape is on the outside it's very dark, and the inside it's very, very light. It's like a white grape on the inside and almost a black red on the outside. So 3.5 years in a virgin oak toasted virgin oak cask, and 3.5 years, 2.5 years in that Moscatel Roxo cask. I prefer this. This is ex-bourbon, this is virgin oak toasted, and this is Bordeaux, ex-Bordeaux casks. I find this more complex and more rounded smooth. There's more of a dark richness and a little bit more sweetness here. This has a little bit of a orange peel moment going on there as well, which I'm not kind of. It's a little bit almost tart. All right, 48%. Cheers. Mm-hmm. It's not the astringency of the virgin oak. It's almost the tartness of the spirit that sucks most of the saliva out of my mouth. This has more tannins. This is darker though. It's richer. It's more plum. This is more of an orange peel moment. It's almost like it's a plum that's way too overripe. It's almost started to turn bad. That's what I'm getting here. It's interesting. There are people that are going to go, hey, Jason, I know what you like. Everything you like is sweet. What do you like that's not so sweet? Well, that'd be this. This is, for me, a C to a C minus whiskey. Value for money, it's 0.5. It's 64 euros. That's a D in my book. I'm so sorry. you're paying 95 euros for this per liter, and you're paying 107 euros for this per liter. So you go up to the 0.7, that's 75, almost 80 euros per liter, for a 0.7 liter bottle, or 7.5 in America. Just way too much for a 6-year-old whiskey. Now, the distillery started basically distilling 2013, so this is one of their oldest products they brought out with a 6-year age statement on it. That's great. They're holding back stock, so they'll be able to do a 10, they'll be able to do a 12, and so on. They just have to look and watch out for the wood management, not that it over oaks and doesn't really attract the people to that type of whiskey. They do have peated. That's usually called breeze. Very, very interesting stuff, by the way. At the beginning of my whiskey journey, it was 2 peated. Now I'm almost getting into that, and it could also be something I need to try again. As I mentioned before, 12,000 liters production capacity, or not capacity, production per year of pure alcohol. This is batch 7 of the triple cask, so they do that in batches. And they place the batches very predominantly on the label. There have been batch variations, and they're well aware of that. The older the stock gets, the more complexity it actually receives, which is good. Very much more up my wheelhouse. It's got more of the caramel moment. It's got a little bit of a sweetness in there. It's got a little bit more of a honey. It's got a little bit of a herbal type of moment in there as well. Black tea. Very nice. If you can ever see a triple cask from the Nine Springs, I would say try it. All right? Very nice. This would be a solid C going up. Maybe on a good day to C+. Value for money, C-. This too tart, not my wheelhouse, but still well made. No issues whatsoever with alcohol, no issues whatsoever with any type of off notes or whatever. Just not my tasting profile. All right, so my question of the day is, of all these different wine types, Bordeaux, Muscatel, Roxo, which wine cask finish do you prefer? All right, thank you very much. See you soon. Don't forget to recommend, like, and tell others, and subscribe if you haven't, but probably have. All the best. Bye-bye.